The Founders' Dilemma. When the Constitution was drafted in 1787, the founders faced a monumental challenge, bringing together 13 very different colonies, large states and small states, slaveholding states and free states, agricultural economies and emerging industrial centers. They feared tyranny, but they also feared direct mob rule. So they made compromises, fragile bargains designed to hold the young nation together. James Madison, often called the father of the Constitution, understood something vital. No document written in 1787 could anticipate every problem the future would bring. That's why the Constitution includes Article 5, the amendment process. Madison himself said the Constitution should be able to keep pace with the progress of the human mind. The problem is this: while the Constitution can be amended, the core compromises of 1787 remain with us, and today. They are undermining democracy itself. Part 1. Gerrymandering and Representation. The term gerrymander comes from 1812, when Governor Elbridge Gerry of Massachusetts approved a state Senate map so twisted it looked like a salamander. From the very beginning, politicians sought to draw lines that favored themselves. Today, gerrymandering has become a science. With modern data tools, districts can be drawn so precisely that one party can win a majority of seats even while losing the majority of votes. Voters don't choose politicians. Politicians choose their voters. The result? Safe seats, entrenched power, and an electorate that feels its voice doesn't matter. Part 2. The Supreme Court and Democracy. The Constitution never explicitly gave the Supreme Court the power of judicial review. That power was claimed in 1803 in the landmark case Marbury v. Madison. After the bitter election of 1800, outgoing President John Adams appointed dozens of midnight judges. One, William Marbury, never received his official papers. When Thomas Jefferson took office, his Secretary of State, James Madison, refused to deliver them. Marbury sued. Chief Justice John Marshall delivered a clever opinion. He agreed Marbury was entitled to his commission, but declared that the law giving the court the power to enforce it was unconstitutional. For the first time, the court struck down an act of Congress. From that moment, the Supreme Court claimed the right to decide what the Constitution means. 9 unelected justices became the ultimate arbiters of American law. In recent decades, the court has repeatedly sided with concentrated power over popular will. In Citizens United v. FEC 2010, it opened the floodgates to unlimited corporate spending. In Shelby County v. Holder 2013, gutted the Voting Rights Act, unleashing a wave of voter suppression. An unelected court, often out of step with the people, now wields enormous influence over the future of democracy. Part 3. The Electoral College versus Popular Will. The Electoral College was born from compromise. Smaller states demanded protection, and slaveholding states wanted extra weight through the 3/5 compromise. The system allowed a handful of elites, the electors, to have the final say, just in case the people chose unwisely. For much of early U.S. history, state legislatures, not voters, decided how electors would be chosen. Over time, states shifted to letting citizens vote, but the electors were still technically free to ignore that choice. To prevent faithless electors, most states passed laws requiring their electors to vote in line with the state's popular vote. These laws vary. Some replace or penalize an elector who strays. Some declare the vote invalid and appoint a substitute. In 2020, the Supreme Court unanimously upheld these laws in Chiafalo v. Washington, ruling that states have the right to enforce the will of their voters. Even with these safeguards, the bigger problem remains. The system itself can still override the will of the people. 5 times in American history, the candidate who won the popular vote lost the presidency, most recently in 2000 and 2016. Today, presidential elections come down to a handful of swing states, while millions of Americans see their votes carry little weight. Binding electors prevents rogue votes, but it does not fix the deeper reality. This was never a system designed for one person, one vote, and it shows. Part 4. Unequal representation in the Senate. The Great Compromise of 1787 gave every state 2 senators, no matter their size. Without it, small states threatened to walk away. It was the price of unity. But for more than a century, senators weren't chosen by the people at all. Under the original Constitution, state legislatures appointed them. Reformers saw how corrupt and dysfunctional this became. Lawmakers were bribed, pressured by wealthy interests, or deadlocked, leaving Senate seats empty. The Progressive Era brought change. In 1913, the 17th Amendment was ratified, requiring the direct election of senators by the people. It was a major democratic reform, but it didn't fix the underlying imbalance. Today, California's 39 million people get the same 2 senators as Wyoming's 580,000. By 2040, 70% of Americans could be represented by just 30% of the Senate. And with the filibuster, even legislation supported by a clear majority of Americans can be blocked by a tiny minority. Conclusion. Democracy at a crossroads. The founders created a framework meant to endure, but also meant to change. Madison himself believed the Constitution must evolve, warning against binding future generations too tightly to the past. The challenges of 1787 were real, but the compromises that solved them now erode the very democracy they were meant to preserve. If the Constitution was meant to be a living document, then perhaps the truest way to honor the founders is not to worship their compromises, but to finish their work and build a democracy that finally lives up to its promise. Thanks for watching Hot LZ. If you value open discussion and real American voices, make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video. And join the conversation at hotlz.com.